Okay, limited were Corey Ballantyne and Luke Musgrave. Did not participate were Javon Bullard and Quay Walker.
You had said after the game the other night that Cooper's just kind of scratching the surface of what he could become in this league. What do you see as what was the next thing you'd like to see from him? What's the next step in his development to get to where you'd like him eventually?
Well, he's just got to stack on what he's already accomplished, and eventually you'd like him to be interchangeable between all the positions. But he's still a young player, still learning and growing. But I love everything he brings to this team, and I think he's kind of learned his process in terms of how to prepare the best throughout the course of the week so he can go out there and play the best on Sundays. And I think Campy's done a great job with him. Halfley, obviously putting him in a lot of great positions to go out there and showcase what he can do, and then ultimately he's doing it.
He did what he did in, 2/3 of the snaps or whatever.
That's kind of what I'm talking about a little bit.
People are like, oh, why not just play him 100% of the snaps? But is there something to be said for the fact that, he's really good in that role and can excel in that rather than just saying, oh, well, let's just play him 100% of the time? Does that make
Well, and you got to mind you, he's coming off a soft tissue injury, so we wanted to be careful and with whether he's a first-year player or a, fifth-year player, you're going to kind of limit those guys as they come back, usually when they're coming off soft tissue.
Now, what would be the argument not playing him at the Mike position full-time? Let's say...
Well, it's a totally different position. It's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Maybe a tackle that has to play center. It's just, there's different responsibilities. So, now that's what I'm talking about in terms of in time, you'd like it to be interchangeable between those two guys. And if you have somebody go down, can he handle the green dot? There's a lot of responsibility that's placed on the guy communicating to the other 10 guys on the field, getting the call from half, making all the necessary checks. You're playing quarterback at that point of your defense.
I know you don't want to work Jacobs to death, but are we at a point in the season where you got to ride him for whatever it takes to win a game?
I think that's all the time. I think we got to be mindful of his workload 100%, and he does a great job communicating with us in terms of where he's at, and he's been pretty healthy. So, and certainly the production speaks for itself. He's an animal out there. Very few times do I feel like when we give him the ball, he doesn't make the first guy miss. And so hopefully we'll continue to draw up some better things for him because he's handled a lot of tough yards where he's getting hit in the hole or a yard downfield and still getting positive yardage out of the plays.
I was going to ask you about that too. Is that a big picture in your mind at all? He's gotten 300 and some touches. Chances are you're going to make the playoffs. You're going to need him for January. Whatever those days are,
We're just worried about today, Bill.
Seriously, is that all you? To exaggerate, is that really all you care about?
No, yeah, for the most part, yeah. I worry about trying to be our best in the moment and get better and better and better. And nothing's a lock for us, so you got to go out and win games. Now, having said that, when we get to that point, if we get to that point, then I think that's a conversation.
Jordan Love's first ever home start was against the Saints last year, that huge fourth quarter comeback. After that game, you said, I've never been a part of a win like this. When you look back to what he did then and the maturity and poise he displayed and what growth he's had since, what do you think of what you saw that day and where he's come since?
Yeah, just kind of reliving the game, watching it this week. It's amazing, just especially obviously from the offensive standpoint, the product that we put out then versus to where we are today. I feel like it's night and day, but we had a lot of young players. It's not just on the quarterback, but he did an unbelievable job, I would say, in the second half of that game, particularly in the fourth quarter, of making some big time plays. on the final drive. Obviously, that 2-point play was critical. We'd scored on a 4th and 1 right before that. So he made a lot of great plays throughout the course of that game. But I just think the consistency of which he now plays the game is, I mean, you would expect that. The more reps you get, the better you're going to be.
Rattler played really well for them coming off the bench last game. Just what stands out about him from what you've been able to see on?
Yeah, I think he's a natural thrower. He can move in the pocket. He's fearless. So I think he's a really talented young player.
Back to Jordan, I'm guessing you don't pay attention to quarterback rating as your own internal stuff, but I mean, his passer rating the last several games is better than it was during that great stretch run he had last year. Is he playing to that kind of elite level like he did last year?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the best ball he's played. Just when I look at all the little things, like I explained the other day, in terms of his ability to manipulate the pocket when he's under duress, getting the ball to his checkdowns or whatever it may be, I think he's playing at a really high level.
There was a play in the second half Sunday night where Jordan is straight back and Myers, I think, goes to help out on Williams, and a linebacker came shooting right up the middle, and Jordan was able to dump it off to Jacobs. What happened on that play that guy got so free in the 80?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what exact play it was. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of New Orleans Saints film. But yeah, I just, without seeing the play in front of me, I'd be making some stuff up right now. So I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I'll go back and look at it right after this. You can ask me tomorrow.
Are you losing hope that Marshawn Lloyd could come back this year? I mean, is it getting too late at this point?
I never want to shut the door on that if he's able to. I mean, yeah, we're getting down towards the end here, but I never want to shut that door completely shut. So he's just going to focus on continuing to get better, and when he can go, he can go.
Hey, Matt, you've talked a lot about Jordan being healthy and being able to practice for why he's been able to play like he has. Is there any common thread between what he did down the stretch last season and what he's doing now? Like, you got great production from Jones down the stretch. Your offensive line came together. Are there some common threads you can see that happened last year that are happening again?
Well, I think collectively as a unit, I think we're playing much better, much more consistent. There's still a lot to clean up and to improve upon. I think more situationally, that's one thing I've challenged our guys with. In particular, some of the third down opportunities that we've kind of squandered, I'd say, throughout the course of the season. And then I feel like one area we've gotten a little bit more consistent and a little bit better is in the red area, scoring touchdowns. But I still think there's been a few opportunities there where we've had penalties. I mean, we had one last game when it was 3rd and goal, or 3rd and 5 in the red area. We get a false start, and you got to play dialed up for what they're presenting. So, but I do think the consistency, especially 1st and 2nd down, has been pretty good.
Matt, you sense anything has, what's changed with New Orleans defense since they made the coaching change? Because they haven't given up a whole lot of points.
No, they've been doing a great job. Yeah, I tried not to go. I mean, there's a lot of tape out there right now. Not that we don't watch the majority of it situationally, but you try to focus more on what you've seen, since then. And they've just been playing tough defense. They've always had a pretty formidable front seven, and I would say that still remains true. And then they got guys that can take the ball away in the back, and they really challenge you. I think Taylor's a really good corner. Obviously, the Honey Badger, he knows how to get the ball away. So they've still got great players back there.
Matt, how do you approach the challenge of peaking at the right time? Obviously, some teams, they say peak too early or this or that. As a coach, you want to play your best every time you play, but as you build momentum towards the playoffs, how do you approach that topic?
I don't know. I just stay in the moment and try to get better every day. So that's for you guys to write about.
Matt, I know you're focused on New Orleans, and I apologize for many of my questions, even the really long ones. But there's obviously this clip from the Rodgers documentary where it sounds like you're crediting Ted with drafting
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Waller's mentioned that to me, and I don't remember saying that, but apparently I did. I don't know if they cut it up. I think what we were trying to do was draw parallels to Ted drafting Aaron and to Goody drafting Jordan. So I think, but I don't know how it got edited or whatnot, and but Ted Thompson had nothing to do with the drafting of Jordan Love. I think there was some lessons learned from him doing what he did when he drafted Aaron, and I think, you see it all across the league. You better have a quarterback, otherwise life can be very, very difficult. And Goody obviously made a great decision, and one that does take courage, because in the moment you're going to get a lot of flack for it. And it was the case however many years ago when Aaron was drafted, and it was the case, was it 5 years ago now, when Jordan got drafted. So it takes courage in that moment, but by no means was I trying to reference that Ted was the reason that we drafted Jordan.
When I see Jordan Love take advantage of a free play and get a ball of Kraft the other night, how much of that was watching Aaron do that and things that you work on with this team?
Yeah, I would say that was a big part of it. That's something that, as an outsider before I got here, you're always intrigued, and how do these guys get so many free plays? And having learned that, we all kind of learned that from Aaron, and Jordan's taken ownership of that and doing a great job, number one, with his cadence. And then also when teams sub, sometimes you take advantage of that as well. And we've had multiple situations where we have been able to take advantage of that. And that ultimately comes down to the quarterback. And he's done a great job with that.
Two more, please.
Amidst a schedule filled with a lot of the premier opponents that you've played, when you focus on the team that doesn't have the 12-2 record like some of your opponents have, how do you keep your team grounded in the moment? Obviously, a few weeks ago, the Eagles and Panthers game came down to the wire, for example.
Yeah, I think it always comes back to us. No matter who we're playing, we have not played a complete game, I would say, in all three phases in the same game. There's been moments in every phase, but it always comes back down to focusing on yourself. And I don't care who you're playing in this league. You're always competing against yourself and just wanting to put your best ball out there and then let the results go where they may.
Matt, what did you see from Jair Alexander today out there after not practicing on Friday?
Yeah, he was out there. I got to go back and tell you after I watched the tape. I mean, there's a lot of bodies out there where I'm not just solely focused on him, but he was out there, he was full, and we'll take a look at the tape, and hopefully we can build upon that and have another great day tomorrow.
Hey, Matt, you've received the opening kickoff, I think, on like 9 of your last games or something like that, and some of those have been your choice. Is that analytics now that, hey, we're just going to take it every time we win?
The only analytic is right here, right in the gut, all right? Yes, it's a gut thing. Based on my gut. That's a great question, Tom. A lot of stuff. I don't know. It's just a feel. And, sometimes whenever I ask our guys, especially the offensive players, they're like, they want the ball. So, and sometimes I can feel, you try to feel how convicted they are, and when you feel like it's the same as your gut, you go with it.
When do you typically make that decision?
Right before kickoff. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because I usually don't think about it till right before kickoff, if I'm being honest. I mean, you do it in like pregame in that time. So, but yeah, that's relatively close to kickoff. It's not like I'm sitting here today making that decision.
Is the conventional wisdom for that, though, that you can potentially manage the clock late in the second quarter so you can double up? It's a little bit easier than if you obviously, is that not what coaches usually think?
There's two sides to it. Obviously, if you get the ball, you go down and score, now you got a lead. If you get the ball, you don't score, now it's potential to get doubled up is how the correct vernacular, if I said that right. And so you got to be mindful of that. And I think, just not to reference last game, but I know for me, I made the mistake of, I don't want to give these guys the ball back for them to give them a chance to double up. And so made some bad decisions there.
How much of your gut is used when you're deciding challenges with the red flag?
Not a gut decision. No gut.
That's something you guys have looked at. I mean, obviously the 0-6. Yeah, that's something that you have to.
That's something for you guys to talk about. I don't really care. Like, if I think it's worthy of a challenge, we'll challenge it. We'll probably be a little bit more aggressive in the first half, and then some of it's just timing and what is the complexion of the game, and if we need something. And there's been times where we've wanted to take a timeout where the play was close enough so you just challenge the play instead, and maybe it goes your way. But yeah, I'm gonna worry about winning games, and then we'll worry about getting the challenges right. How about that? Good?
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks. What you got?
You guys love practicing in the snow. This temperature is pretty good out there.
You're gonna have an opportunity to go ask them. But that is one of the advantages here. We're gonna play a game Monday night. I mean, last I told, it could be like this. So why not get game-like conditions in practice and kind of get a feel for how you have to move on that grass, because there was a little bit more snow than I anticipated, but it was all good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.